Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sort of doing a review, but also sort of an unboxing situation. I bought a pen off eBay, German eBay, and it's been a while since I bought a non-new pen, and this is a vintage Pelikan, or at least I'm assuming it's in here. I haven't opened the box yet. And what I wanted to do with you guys is look at how it came here, and how I am going to clean it, and maybe I need to grease the piston, so I'm going to do that also. But I just wanted to show you like a vintage buy off eBay that I haven't seen yet. It's unrestored. It wasn't very expensive, mainly because there's a logo on the cap, but someone told me it may have been screen printed on the cap, so I might be able to remove it. And also the nib on this pen is an OBB, so an oblique double broad, and I was pretty interested in that. I paid 114 euros for it, which is not a lot. It's a Pelikan 400 green stripe, and I think they generally go for more. So I buy my Pelikans, if I buy a vintage Pelikan, I just buy it off German eBay. So I look at ebay.de specifically, because if you look at ebay.com, you get really different results, and mainly pens from the States. Maybe they've been restored, but they're also much more expensive. And I have had other Pelikans bought on eBay that were unrestored, and I've had one that was not perfect, but I'll talk more about that when I actually unbox it and like look at it. But generally it's been fine. So yeah, I always take the gamble. So let us switch a shot. I'm gonna be in the kitchen at the sink, so it's gonna be different. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So let's go. Okay, cut the box open to like be able to pull it out easily. Lots of paper stuffies in there. And then, boy, apparently it's in a box. The 400 is not a big pen. Actually quite small. It's the same size as the 200. And let me see. Cutting tape. Wow, it's even in plastic wrap, which is kind of weird. Like, eBay is always an adventure to me, especially when you buy from people who don't really have like a lot of pens for sale, like the people that aren't actually in the pen market. It's always like strange to see how they package stuff and deal with stuff. So no idea why it's like wrap. Wow. Okay, this is in such good shape. And when I look at it, it looks like it's never been inked. If I'm honest, it looks like it's literally never been inked. This is the logo. It's a buyer logo. And it's already kind of fading. I don't really care about it. This pen looks in such a good shape. So I've not always been this lucky. Like, I have had a misaligned nib on a vintage Pelikan before, so the chicks aren't super visible. Let me actually do this without fake lighting. I'm gonna turn on some fake lighting, see if we can actually get it on camera properly. But all those lights are out. That's amazing. Anyway, let me see if I can show you. Oh. The chicks are on there. I'll try to show you this better in the writing sample too, but right now it is like I am not gonna focus. And there's text on the barrel. It's a 400. It is not a flat top, it's a cigar shapey pen. And now of course we gotta look at the nib. So I had a different one was misaligned, but it was not misaligned in the sense that I could just wiggle the nib or work on the nib. It was in the feed wrong. So the old Pelikans have ebonite feeds, right? And the feeds are in nib housing that you can screw out. So I can screw this out. I will show you in a little bit. The housing, the nib is just friction fit in there. Ebonite feeds, these old ebonite feeds are fragile. What I had to do for that pen is pull out the nib and feed from the collar, which is something I will not recommend. Only reason I did it myself is because I didn't know any nib people here or pen people, and I couldn't use it. So thinking like I can't use this now, like it's useless to me now, let me just work on it. So I did. Not something I would easily recommend. Please focus. Look at that nib. Wow. That is a nib and a half. These old Pellies come with gold nibs, 14K. And this is a big nib. Like, hello nib. Yeah. So I'm gonna be above the sink now. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. I wonder, honestly, oh, tilting. I wonder if it's been used or whether it's dirty. You can see all other stuff there. It's great. Zoom in. So this Pelly is smooth enough. I am not gonna grease it. I am gonna take out the nib unit for you to see how that works. So removing the nib unit is possible, and for cleaning I am going to do that. As you can see, I already fiddled with it a little bit because they can be very tight. They can be very tight. What you need to do is make sure that you have hold of the actual nib and then the feed together so they can't move, and then screw it counterclockwise. So then you take out the unit. There it is. Whew! Oh, failure is caught on camera. I'm glad it was just the nib unit and not the whole pen. There's no weight behind it, so that nib is fine. I'm not really worried about it. This feed is so gross. I don't know if you can see it. There's a lot of caked ink in there. So I thought it wasn't inked. It has been inked. And now I'm gonna grab a cup to put it in so we can see how gross it is. Let me grab a teacup and then put it in there. And there we go. It is pretty gross. I'd hoped it would not be gross, but it is gross. Okay, so before showing you how to grease it, because I am showing you, even though the piston moves fine, I'm gonna clean it a bunch. Already put the nib unit into water. Yeah, I did a cut a little bit because it was really gross. So the barrel looks super clean. So sometimes you have staining on the, sorry for the water noise. Sometimes you have staining on the barrel because it's semi-translucent. This one does not have that, so I was kind of surprised that it was inked. But yeah, so I have the nib unit in water, and then I make sure there's water into the barrel, and then I just shake it and then throw it out. So I'm not moving the piston mechanism a lot because even if it is sort of fine, it's not focusing at all. Even if it's like fine and moving, I still want to grease it a little bit, I guess. I don't know, it just makes me feel better. Also, the movement up and down is like a pain in the butt. So I'm gonna keep cleaning and then I'll come back to you with greasing. Right now, I'm gonna add some warm water to see if it dissolves faster if I add a little warm water, because it's very dirty. And since I'm gonna grease it up anyway, warm water won't be a problem. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is soak it for a little bit and then I'll come back to you with greasing because this is one dirty pen. Yeah, I'll see you later in a different shot. All right. Okay, now that I myself am more inkier than the pen, or inkier, we can grease it. Silicone grease and then a cotton swab. I realized that in the move I gotten rid of my silicone grease, so I got some new stuff. What I do is a little bit on the cotton swab. I can't really see what I'm doing on the camera screen. I hope it's going well. This is pure silicone, nothing else. And then, okay, so there's a little bit on there. What I do is just move it around on there. I'm gonna add a little more. This is thicker than I'm used to. It'll be fine. It's pure silicone. Might have been in the store for a while. 100p silicone grease. Okay. Then the barrel. It might still look a little inky, like when it comes out. I just rub it on there. This is super basic. I just make sure I go around and around, and sometimes like I add a little more grease later, which is what I'm gonna do in a second. So I coat the barrel as much as I can. Still some on my finger. And then add a little more. Spread it on the cotton swab. And then go back in. Moving it around. And of course this is like, it's not perfect, but it's gonna be better than it was. And that's basically what we want. Okay, and then what I tend to do with the clean side of the cotton bud, go through where the nib unit sits, so the grip basically. Ooh, that's gross still. It's good that I'm doing this, adding a little water, and then it should be okay. Because if you get grease on your nib unit, it's gonna reject ink, basically. Okay. And then after I clean my fingers, I'm gonna see if the barrel moves well, or the piston moves well. And then the piston knob is gonna move the grease too. And this feels delightful. Like, it's much better. Even though it wasn't bad, it's much better. So that's how I do it. It's the easiest way with least amount of risk. And then when your nib unit is clean, it's soaking, it's better, it's still sort of letting ink go. You can screw it back in, nib unit, and then ink it up and write with it, which is what I'm gonna do in the next shot. Okay, finally here we are with a close-up of the Pelikan, the 400 NN to be specific, which is recognizable by the rounded piston knob and the dome on the cap. The cap band just says 400, but this is the 400 NN. And this is a lovely example of it. The only thing, of course, that might lower the value is that logo. It's a Bayer logo. And I'm thinking of trying to remove it, but I don't want to scratch the cap. So if I do it, it's going to be a very careful undertaking. So they made this pen from 1956 until 1965. So it's an oldie. The newest it can be is 60 years old-ish. That's one of the reasons I'm hesitant to take off this logo, because it is a part of history, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna keep it for now. It's in a nice Peli type color, so that's okay. And this is one of the cleanest, as in the barrel is one of the prettiest ones I've ever seen. Lots of these get some type of discoloration, especially when you uncap it. And then you have the section with the piece of green stripe that was under the cap. This one doesn't really have that. You can see some of the ink in here, but there is no real discoloration on this barrel, which is amazing to me. It is a lovely, lovely example of this pen. And then I keep touching the nib. This nib is a gold nib. It's 14 karat gold, and it is a double broad oblique, so an OBB. And it's kind of crazy to me how this writes. I've been testing it out a little bit, and it's super cool. It's hard for daily writing. I do journal with it sometimes, but it is quite hard to do daily writing with this because it is so broad. Yeah, it is a lovely, lovely pen, and especially for the price. Like, I paid 114 euros for it. I think that's 125 in dollars. It's not that much more, but it's a great, great example. Anyway, talked about the pen long enough. I've showed you the cleaning, or some of the cleaning, and I've showed you the greasing, and now we gotta go to the writing, because that's what we've been waiting for. So I inked it with Sailor Soten. Let's just write that down. Of course, I've had it uncapped for a little bit. Sailor Soten. Sailor Soten. Soten, which is a lovely blue turquoisey color. And this nib is great. So now I'm holding it straight on now, right? When I write with it in my journal, I tilt it a little bit and go like this, which makes it a little less, I cannot write, a little less stark. It is smooth in any direction. Like, there's no point. Well, I mean, if you go like this, it's just not gonna write, because if you look at the nib, let's make a really stupid looking nib. I just want to show you how it's cut. So it's like that. So this is a slant. You can't really write the other way with it. Left obliques do exist, but they're not for me because I'm a righty. Alright, let's do some more writing. If I just no pressure it, this is the downstroke, and this is the side stroke. Very stubby and very sharp, but not uncomfortable to write with, which is of course what we want. We want comfort when we write. And then if you push it a little bit, you can definitely get some more broadness out. I wouldn't say this is the softest Peli nib I've ever used, but it is by no means a stiff nib, which is great, because that means you can like press it a little bit, get it more inky, and then do some funky writing with it. So as you can see, this is an extremely broad nib, right? I do have a broad right here. It's a pilot broad. So this is the no pressure zone. This is a regular broad. And there's definitely, I don't have a pen with the same ink. It's definitely a big difference. Like that. Can't zoom in anymore, I think. No. I can lift my notebook. So here you have like the difference. It's just a really funky nib. So I've been like just writing words with it, because now it looks like it says funky with an funkly. It says funkly with a C. I hope you can't hear the dogs barking. So we're taking care of my brother's dogs, and my own dog is here. It's a bark fest. Anyway, this is a really fun nib, and this was a super good purchase in my opinion. It's a great nib. It's in great shape. It took some cleaning and it took some grease, but it was totally worth it for the money. And yeah, that's how I deal with a pen that needs some work. Or when I say work, it just needed a good cleaning and a grease, and it was fine. I've had different experiences with eBay pens, of course. I've had good ones and less good ones, but generally I've always managed to solve stuff. There are some really good resources online. Just do some Googling. I'll place some links in the description. And then I'm also part of some fountain pen discords where there's always people who are super knowledgeable, and you should not be afraid to use other people's knowledge, because like, if you want to work on a pen and you're brave enough and you're like, I'm not super worried about how this is going to end, then you should go for it and just acquire knowledge and do your thing, right? I have a lovely Pelikan to write with, and I didn't spend too much money on this nice gold nibbed, green striped pen. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little different than other videos, but it was fun to do. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.